All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, wait, a music playing. Good evening. It is Coach Gail Benson. It's Wednesday and it is June 19th. Happy Juneteenth. I am so happy that you are here with us tonight. I am so excited to share with you all tonight. You have no idea what we have been experiencing trying to get on here to go live. We have had some technical difficulties, but we push and we press through the pressure. Okay, so listen, it is time for us. It is past time for us to get going. We have a guest tonight that I'm excited to introduce to you all, present to some, but introduce to others. Our guest, Lavonda Key. She's going to share her extraordinary story with us. So without further ado, I am not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring Lavonda on and we are going to get started talking about transformation in these conversations. So let's bring her on in so she can say hello.
Hi.
Hi, Lavonda. Thank you
Hi.
so much for coming. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for having me.
patience. Just thank
Yes.
you for being here. It is a
You're
pleasure
welcome.
to have you with us. So, Lavonda, I'm not going to do too much talking. I would love for you to just introduce yourself to the audience and the viewers and share a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Lavonda Key. I'm a mother of two beautiful children. I've been in the nursing field for about 19 years now. I'm a first time author. I have my small business. Is called LDK All Natural Hair and Skin Oil. So I specialize really in just all natural for your hair and your skin. And like I said, I'm a first time author and I'm a widow.
Thank you, Lavonda. So we are going to share some very just intimate parts of your life that really catapulted you into this new journey that you are walking in. So I want you to share in your own words, but I just want to share a little bit of what I've seen myself with respects to your journey and what it has looked like. And I met Lavonda back in 2022, I believe it was. And she was very shy and reserved, very quiet. And it was just like I was just drawn to her. It was something about her spirit that just resonated with me so much. And as we, began to learn each other, we were working together on the different venture that we were doing, and we just started bonding over that time, and I started seeing more
Yes.
and more light, and she was opening up more and more and shared her phenomenal story with me. And I just knew that it had to be a time where I was going to be able to see her open up and share her story. So, Lavonda, I want to go in just to start the dialogue off to
Okay.
say, this is a very big and a sensitive topic for some. It may be triggering for others because there are a lot of people who are living through what you have already gone through. So your story will be the light,
Yes, I
onto
received that.
someone else's path that maybe can't see or find their way through their current situation when they've experienced what you've experienced. So tonight's topic is called Life After Loss. So
Yes.
I want Lavonda to just go into sharing her story. We have a couple of questions for her that we're going to do at the end, because I want you to be able to connect and identify with her and her journey. So Lavonda, please feel free. I'm going to fade to the background, and it'll be your face will be the only beautiful face they see on the screen as you share, and then I'll come
Okay.
pop back in, so we can continue with the questions, and I'll deal with the chat. I see my lovely Odie in the chat, so thank you, Odie, for joining us. I'm going to fade out, and Lavonda, you fade right on in.
Well, life after loss. Nobody knows the feeling after losing a loved one. Like I said, in my case, I lost my husband. Actually, this year, September would be 3 years. At that moment, I didn't know I was going to lose him. At the end of the day, you don't really know your loved one. What's going to happen when the hospital is telling you there's nothing they can do for your husband. Basically, they was telling me, take him off of life support, put him in hospice. At that moment, I felt for me as a wife, I knew my husband. I knew he was a fighter. So everything that it was telling me, for as there's nothing they can do. I know my God. God is a healer. So I knew at that moment my faith was there. After I left him, after he left me in 2021, I knew at that moment I had I had a purpose. And when my purpose at that moment was going through the healing part of it also, but sharing my story also too. The grieving. No one can tell you how long you can go through the grieving process. No one can tell you how long it could take. I know for myself personally, it took about, I would say, almost actually 3 years. And what helped me go through the process is really the journal. At the moment when he was in the hospital, I didn't know at that moment. I was just writing my journal, things that I saw that for us, like they're telling me there's nothing you can do. And I just started writing my journal. At that moment, I didn't know after he passed away, that journal that I had wrote in the time that he was in the hospital, start the beginning of writing my book. The book didn't come up about until probably like the end of 2022, 2023. So at that moment, God spoke to me like, okay, I understand you're still going through the healing process, but you have to write this book to give other spouse, for any spouse that lost their husband or their wife, how you went through the healing part. That, like I said, nobody can tell you how you can go through the process. And I was saying, well, how can I write this? But I said to myself, I got to do this because now I have a purpose to go forth to say, okay, you know what? I have to write this book because I know this book is going to encourage and give strength to another, a widow, a wife, or husband that went through the same thing I went through. But at the end of the day, God, the main thing really is God. The number one thing is God. Keep God in your life, praying. That's what's going to get you through. That's going to give you your strength. I never went through the depression part of it. There was the lonely part of it that was there. Of course, that's your spouse. You think about the wedding vows. Through sickness to death do us part. That's the part I never thought at an early age that I would go through that. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's gonna be something that's gonna happen in our late age at 70 or 80 years old. But when it happened at a young age, I had to do then that it happened, and now I got to go forth and write this book to encourage other husband and wife that went through the same thing, and is going through it right now. So that's why I was like, no, I got to go forth and get this book out, give them strength and encourage them that I did it, you can do it. Yes, you're gonna have times when you feel like the loneliness. But I think about the memories of his life, who he was, a certain type of laugh that he had, certain type of foods that he loved to eat, and the love that that I would cook for him. So I think about the memories part of that keeps me going. Because at the end, I have to keep going because my children are looking at me every day like, Mom, if I'm not doing good, then they're gonna go into like a depression or get concerned about me. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one left for them to look up to. So this story, I'm just praying that this book and this story encourage and give strength to whoever just went through that and who's going through it right now.
Oh, that was awesome, Lavonda, because, when you talk about this, even also with just grief as a whole, we need those foundational tips to
You do.
keep us focused and to keep us motivated and keep us moving and seeking guidance from God because, I did not lose my spouse, but losing my mother sent me to just a very different place. And I am a very different person because of that loss. And I'm still learning through loss and growing through
Mhm.
grief because my mother will always be gone. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So every day, I am never the same. You will never,
Mhm.
be the same. I think it's a blessing that you were able to experience him and have the life you
Yes.
had together. But I think sometimes, what would you say to a spouse, a husband, or a wife that just kind of feels like they can't see past their grief and
Mhm.
they don't see themselves being able to come out of that?
Mhm. In that, I would say, look at the good times, the memories that you had with your spouse when your spouse was here. Memories. Look at pictures. A lot of people say why I still do it, but that's just what me and my son and my daughter does. Like this past Sunday was Father's Day, so we go out there and, like I said, for these last 3 years, we go out there to the cemetery. Clean the headstone. We put flowers out there. Me personally, that's like a one-on-one for me, even though my son and daughter is there. I figure that it's almost like a tradition, but I would say tradition for us. It's feel like it's keeping us keep going also too, because even though we know, that's just a body there, his body has transitioned to heaven. It's more like this is something we do for us our memories. Certain movies that he liked, certain things. It's just really the memories. If you keep those memories alive and you remember what that person did when they was here on earth, then you're like, you know what? I remember this person. My husband did this or my wife did that. She liked certain types of places she would go, or in my case, my husband with him, he liked certain types of action movies. So my son and my daughter's like, Mom, are we gonna go see um um what is it, Bad Boys? Can't come in. Are we gonna see that? Because we would know that what Dad would like. So it's things like that, things that they feel like that he's still here connected, even though he's not here. They was like, okay, this is what Dad would like. Let's go to the movies. Let's do this. Things like that. So I would say just keep the memory alive. The grief is gonna be there, but it's gonna be up to you how you're gonna heal from it. I know for me, I talk to God from it, and I know for me, it's really the memories. of him. Certain, like I said, his laugh, that laugh that he had, that smile. That what I would say the memory is keep us get going. So I would say just the memories of their loved one. Just I would just say that the memories of their loved one.
Absolutely. And that's how, we stay connected,
Mm-hmm.
are the memories, because if we really look at it, that's what we have left, is how we
Yeah.
look at the experience that we've had with them in our lives. That is what
Mm-hmm.
keeps us connected, because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, no one can take those memories away
No,
from
they
us.
can't.
They
No.
are very much alive for us because we lived it, and
Mm-hmm.
we can remember it and hold on to those things. Sometimes I know I was afraid. I felt like I was afraid to have memories, because I was afraid of the
Yeah.
pain that came along
Mm-hmm.
with missing my mother through my grief. You know, Grief doesn't mean that you stop growing.
Right.
We just have to
Right.
grow as different people
It
while
is.
we're grieving. As long as our loved one is going, we are going to have a moment of grief, you know, for them. And but we also have to allow ourselves to grow, because tell me this, have you ever felt kind of guilty or self-conscious about, when you weren't crying anymore? You're like, wait, I'm still supposed to be sad. Because I used to try
Mm-hmm.
to pull myself when I was at least starting to grow, past the grief.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be sad. I'm
Yes.
still
Yes.
supposed to be crying, because I wasn't giving myself permission to
Mm-hmm.
heal and grow
Mm-hmm.
through the pain and through the grief. Had you ever, experienced that while you were going through the process?
I did all the time. All the time. It just out of nowhere. I could just be in the shower, taking a shower, and it just tears running on my eyes, and I was like, at some point I used to question God, like right after he passed away, like, was this supposed to happen? Why did it happen? And I was like kind of questioning God a little bit, because I was like, I know God, you're a healer, but why you had to go through all of that for you to transition and take him away? So
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning when he first passed away, it came all the time, but I had to pray about it because I didn't want that grief to get so heavy into me that I was going into depression. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't talk to anyone. I would just stay be by myself. I didn't want it to get to the point that I was going to go into depression. The grief came. Yes, the grief came because you're human at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You lost a loved one. In my case, that's my husband. Not, you know, at the end of the day, being personal, not having that loved one, like as a husband, being there right beside you to give you that hug, if everything
Right.
okay, that intimacy of it, it wasn't there anymore. Waking up in the morning and, I'm going to the bathroom before he gets to the bathroom. It's things like
Right.
that. It's just like, it came and I was like, why? But I know at that moment also too, I had to realize too, it had just happened. So I feel like it was natural. It was natural for me to go through the grievance. So that was part of the grievance. But I know once I started healing, and my healing really came with the writing. That's how I started to heal. Because it took me a minute to write, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he passed in 2021. I had the journal, but the journal was more like a personal what he was going through in the hospital. But I did not know that journal what I was writing then would start the book. I didn't know that. So
Mm-hmm.
that journal I just put it away. And for a long time I didn't want to go look back in that journal because the journal was more of what's going on with him in the hospital. So I didn't want to go back. But then God had to tell me in like the end of 2023, you got to write the book. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to tell myself, like, you know what? I started already with the book in the journal. It's just that part more of the sadness of it when he was in the hospital. This right
Mm-hmm.
here, the book that I'm writing, is more of encouraging, giving other, wife or husband the strength what I went through, that you can do it also too. So the grief, yeah, it came at the beginning, but now I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I still do have the memory because I think a lot of memories come when you got, the birthdays and the Father's Day and
Yeah.
Christmas. So those are our three main like holidays. We just went all out: birthdays, Father Day, and Christmas. So when those holidays come, I still get that little downness about it because I know those were
Mm-hmm.
the times that we celebrated as a family. So yes, the grief was there. It's not there anymore because now I feel like for me, I'm healed from it, and I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the part when I say it's healed from it is because I'm writing, and now before I couldn't, when I would talk about it, I couldn't even get everything out because I started crying. The words can kind of, I had to shut down. But now where I'm at right now, my voice, I can speak more about how I went through it. So
That is wonderful. Lavonda, your strength is going to help so many people. Just talking about how you made it through, that part and those challenges. And with that being said, and we mentioned about the book, how the journal has helped you. And in essence, so many pieces of the journal it has
right.
evolved
Yes,
into
yes.
the book. And with you using that and having to grab back some other things, because like you said, the
Mm-hmm.
journal is just it almost encapsulates everything that he went through, just up until he
Yes,
passed away in the hospital, up until he passed. But there's so much more to your story,
it is. It
um
is.
and about your life with him, and
Right.
just
Right.
as an individual, as Lavonda.
Yeah.
So in writing the book, in the phases that we go through as authors, you know you've also found your voice.
Mm-hmm.
You're using your voice,
Yes.
and I'm so happy that you are. But you have also ventured out and started a business.
Mm-hmm.
So it the finding your strength through this journey, did that help push you towards just jumping out there and getting started with your business? Tell us about that.
It did. It did. I think once I found my voice, I knew I had a voice. So once I found that voice and I started expressing more of that voice, I said, you know what? Let me go and start. Just go ahead and start the business also because I know on the other side of it, I know for me the book is more towards my personal and my marriage, but at the same time
Mhm.
too the business, I feel with the business is going to help me also voice my voice, give me a voice also too. Because anything when you have a business, you got to be vocal about it. You got to go and represent your business. You got to go out and network, and I am so happy about that. Since, like I said, when we got together in 2022, I didn't know it was. We were just networking through a
We
different.
didn't know what we was doing.
We didn't know what we were doing. And I was like, well, how I go from just writing this book, finding my voice, and I got the business. But at the end of the day, too, it's all about how God connected us because we was connected on a different level. We wasn't me,
Right.
but we wasn't me talking about no book at that moment.
Right.
We would just network on more like a business level. But
Hmm.
I think for a business level right now, this is what I know I have more than just the book in me. I have the
Right.
business also in me also too. Also we did have a business. Me and my husband did have a business for about 6 years. We ended up closing down like in 2019. He was more of the I was more like the background of it, but he was like the head of
Right.
it. So wasn't really too much into it, so I didn't really know like the pros and cons of the business part of it. He was more with more knowledge of that. But for me, just seeing it myself gave me an idea. So now that I have my voice, I know what I need to do: network, connecting with other women,
Mhm.
getting like questions. If I have any questions, and getting answers. So now where I'm at right now, it's like okay, now I know I can do this, and I'm going further. So I definitely found my voice. I think I found my voice after my husband passed. Because I was
Right.
always the wife, stay behind the background, reserved, quiet, and I've always been like that all my life. But always like talk to God, like, was this supposed to happen for me to find my voice? And I had to say to myself, no, everyone have a purpose and a calling in their life. A lot of time, a long time, you don't know what your purpose is, because I didn't know what my purpose was. But after my husband passed, I know my purpose, because there's a difference between purpose and a calling. I feel like a calling is more like, this is what you were born with. A purpose is something in you. You got to get that out. And that's why I feel like I have a purpose, and I had it there. I just didn't know what it was. So now, my husband passing away, it's like I have a purpose now. I got to get this book out, my business, and other inventions that I'm gonna be doing. But I know definitely the book and the business. So I've definitely these last 3 years have found my voice. Definitely.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And we are so happy to hear it. And just to, piggyback off of what you said is that when you question, like, was this supposed to happen? Like, is this what, was supposed to make me become who I am? And I mentioned this to you, in the previous conversation and I also said this at a speaking engagement when I was speaking. And I said, had I known that I had to lose my mother to become who God structured me to be, I would have said no. I would not have done it. And that is why the plan is not revealed to us, because although we don't know the other side, we don't want to see, visit, or deal with the pain of transformation. When we think of transformation, at least I do, one of my favorite creatures on this earth is a butterfly. I associate the butterfly with my mother because butterflies came to me when my mother passed away, and they've been coming to me ever since. But we speak of transformation, you think of the butterfly, and it just goes and get in this little cocoon and this chrysalis, and then it comes out and it's beautiful. Yay! But we don't know if that's a painful process for that thing. We don't know what that caterpillar went through to get in there and what happens to it on the inside, because it is closed off from the world, and it's just that little insect and God doing its thing. We don't know if it's painful, and most of the time we don't want to see or feel the pain. We want the reward on the other side, but it's just the through part that we want to stay away from most of the time. And what I had to learn was the through part is my training. It's teaching me about myself and what I have to offer to others. So in saying that, I want to ask you, what do you hope for your story? Like, how do you want it to resonate with people that you talk to? Because you'll be sharing your story, not just only in your book, but there's going to be other platforms that you're going to be on. You're going to be speaking at events and engagements. If I got anything to do with it, you will. And so how do you want your story to resonate, with people? Just overall struggling with grief in their own lives, grief as a whole, or especially from losing their spouse.
I would say, don't rush it. Don't let nobody tell you how you feel about it, because you're going through the process. They're not. I just want to just encourage them, give them strength. With this book, I feel like once they read it, they're gonna understand, like, wow, she actually went through that, because the book is deep. But it's like, wow, she did it, I can do it also too. But like I said, the grieving process, it's the process. It's grief, it's the process. Don't rush it. Like I said, for me, it took me almost 3 years. This should be 3 years. In the healing process, I'm healed from it. So that's why I can come on and talk about it without saying, okay, give me a minute, or my voice is crackling. I can talk about it because I went through it, and with God and my family and the prayers. And that's the only way I can say that I'm praying with the book, give them the strength and the encouragement to go through it, but not let nobody tell you, well, this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. No, you can't tell nobody how long they can go through the grieving process, because we don't know what that person meant to them. And I know for me, it took 3 years, but I would say don't rush it. Talk to God. Surround yourself with family. Go out. Don't just stay inside, because in that point, if you do that, you're gonna go through depression. So I would just say,
Right.
take your time with it. Take your time. Only you will know how. Pray and talking to God, because that's all I did. Pray, talking to God. Pray, talking to God. Writing. A lot of times when you write, instead of keeping it in, when you write it down, it could be simple things like, I remember when he did this, or I remember my husband did that, or my wife did that. And you write it down, because at the end of the day, you're writing it down. You're not holding it in. Because when you hold it in, that's when you start
Mm-hmm.
going into depression. You feel like I don't want to live no
Mm-hmm.
more. Go through start having like the suicide, just the different kind of like mind battles going on. But at the end of the day, you want to just make sure that you pray and talk to God every day and say, I can do this. My loved one suffered, but it's at the end that my loved one not suffer anymore. And that I think a lot of time also too, I had to learn that also after he passed. Mom used to tell me at the end of the day, he's not suffering anymore. A lot of times we want our loved ones to be here, but at the end of the day, what do they want? Because we can say, okay,
Right.
I want my mom to be here, my husband, my sister, but we want that person to be here, but we don't know what that person is saying. Because they could be saying, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, Lord, I'm going through this. I don't want to live like this. Just take me. Just take me. And then when that time happens, we have to learn how to accept it, because we don't know what that person was going through. So that's the part I feel like, just giving encouragement, strength. Take your time. Nobody can tell you when you can heal. Nobody can tell you when to heal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes, when we're praying and we're asking God to give them peace and for
Mm-hmm.
God to heal them, and when they pass, we feel like God didn't hear us or honor our
Mm-hmm.
request. But
Yes.
what we don't understand is that, the things we ask for are often in the physical. But
The
when
physical,
God
yes.
moves in the spiritual and his spiritual mind, his way is not our ways.
It is not.
And the healing and the blessing is in
Mhm.
the passing, because
Mhm.
they are no longer in those infirmed bodies with infirmity and
Yes.
sickness,
Yes.
and to
Yes.
be absent in the bodies, to be present with God. And although it is painful to miss
It
them,
is. It's
the
painful.
blessing and the
It is.
peace that we ask God for, it came for them. So
Mhm.
that peace, are we really asking for peace for our loved one, or are we
Mhm.
thinking more so about
Yes.
ourselves?
Yes.
Because the peace was granted when God loved them so much to bring them home and relieve them of any suffering. So
And that
I'm
was
so
me.
glad you touched
Yes.
on that,
Yeah. That was me. And like I can piggyback on that. After my husband passed and after the funeral, and I was remember in the bathroom, and I was just I felt like I had to get it out, because when he was in the hospital, my strength was there, holding it in. I didn't cry. Until I let it out at the funeral, of course. But after the funeral, I got
hmm
home and I was in the bathroom, and I could just remember like it was yesterday. I was talking. I said, "Why did you leave me?" That part. I didn't. I wasn't even talking to God. I was talking to my husband, even though I know he had transitioned. I was like, "Why did you leave me?" And I
hmm
think for me, I had to get that part out. Even though I know he was gone already, it's just like I had to like question like, why did you leave me? And then I got quiet, and then I had to realize it wasn't all about what you wanted. It wasn't all about what you
hmm
want. It's what he wanted.
hmm
He knew
hmm
that his body wasn't gonna sustain on what was going on. But in the day, yes, he loved me, he loved his children, but my husband's always been like an active person. It was just like for him to come out the hospital and still not be 100%. And I knew what type of person he was. You know, he worked, we had a business, And for him to come
Mhm.
home after all that, knowing that he couldn't do what he wanted to do at an early age, he was
Mhm.
like, you know what? I feel like, and I would tell my mom, I said, most likely, I already know. He told God, go ahead and take me away. Go ahead and
Mhm.
I don't want to be able to come out of this and not be 100%. So I had to realize and talk to myself after I was like mad. I was like, why did you leave?
Right.
I had to think about like, you know what? It wasn't all about you. It's what he had wanted. So
Right.
like I said, we want our loved ones here, but if the loved ones say talking to God and say, you know what, God, don't take me, that's what God gonna do. And we, as the one that's left behind, have to accept that also. Like it's not what we wanted. So I had to realize that rather passed, but I just think that I'm I'm here for that. I don't have that, doubt. I don't have that anger, like, questioning why. But I had to realize also too, it wasn't what I wanted.
Right. Right. So, I could just be on here talking to you
Yeah.
all night about this because there are a lot of people who don't know how to have this type of conversation. Um, there's a lot of people, especially in our community, we don't
Right.
know how to or feel like we have support or that we can get help. And I want to take this opportunity to say that if you are dealing with grief, anxiety, or depression, please feel free. I put my email in the chat. I am more than happy to guide you to some counseling resources.
Mhm.
I went through a 14-week intensive group therapy program when I was going through depression and anxiety after my mother died from metastatic breast cancer. And I will tell
Mhm.
you, I hated it. I hated
Mhm.
going, but as I continued in the program and I had to go 3 times a week for
Mhm.
14 weeks, it is the best thing that
It
I
is.
could have ever done for myself.
Mhm.
And we do survive
We do.
because
We do. We do.
we know how to get by and maintain. But
But you
if
don't have
you
to do it by
just,
yourself. Yeah, you don't have
you
to do it
don't,
alone.
you
There's help
don't.
out there. Like I thank God that I didn't have to go through the counseling because God was healing me because I was writing. I stayed in my church. I had my church family, my mom, my uncle, which is a pastor. I knew where to go to talk to, who to lean on in prayer. And like I said, I've been in church since I was a young girl, so I knew that part what to do. But there's, like I said, if you know you can't, like I know I can't do this. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go to depression. I don't know if I want to commit suicide. I just can't do this
Hmm.
anymore. There's help out there. Grief counseling and the information that you're giving them. So you don't feel like you have to do it on your own. You don't feel like you have to do it by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Lavonda, I'm going to ask you one last question. We are coming up on 8 o'clock, and
Okay.
I just want to ask you, how does it feel to shine your light and use your voice? This is new for you, and when I see you speak, I just see you light up. So, how does it feel to now that you stepped into your voice? You've jumped
Mhm.
on the road and you got the map going for your journey. How are you feeling at this stage in the game for you?
I feel like I'm on top of the world. And when I say that, because I know, like I said, I've always been a reserved and quiet person.
Mm.
Like I said, with this, when my husband passing away, it gave me my voice of who I am, and I can speak to other people. Because before I was shy. I was shy. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was nervous, just feel like anxious. But I think right now, I just feel like I'm on top of the world because now I know that I've done this, and I see
Mm-hmm.
myself just going forward towards like speaking to other places. Conferences. I just been putting, when I pray, I've been speaking to God, like, no, God, I got this. I see doors opening up because this opportunity, like I spoke to you, I saw this, like, I spoke it out a couple months ago, not knowing today, June
Right.
19th, that we will be on the weekly transformation conversation. Like, I'm still like, I don't know. I'm still like, I'm amazed. And I just thank God that I had this opportunity to go forth to be able to share my story and encourage anyone and give them strength that if I did it, you can do it also too. So I just feel like the top of the world, I know that I am going places. And I feel like with this book, it's gonna help the world, millions of people that's going through grief. So I just feel like
Yeah.
I'm like the best on top of the world right now. That's the best I can say, on top of the world.
As you should be.
Yeah.
As you should be, Lavonda. It has been a long road, but the road ahead of you has been paved out and aligned by
It's
God.
the beginning. The
I am
beginning.
so very proud of you. Please, anyone, like I said, if you need resources for grief, depression, or anxiety, you can email info@gailbenson.com. I'm happy that Lavonda continues to share. She joins me. I have a monthly networking event, and I'm in partnership with the Woman
Yeah.
to Woman Network. We have monthly networking
And I
events.
love it.
If you would like to
Networking,
join
I
us,
love it.
I am going to put the information in the chat. You can join us. I am the chapter leader for Woman to Woman Network here in Orlando, Florida, and all of Central Florida. We are scaling and planning to have a huge impact. And that means including people like Lavonda Key. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, if you are a professional or a business owner, this is a place for female business owners who are serious about collaboration,
Definitely.
growth, development, and establishing professional connections here in our city. This has been amazing, Lavonda. I want to continue to encourage you because you are going places. I'm
Yes,
happy
ma'am.
to see you every time. And any event that I have, you
Yes,
are
you know I'm gonna be there.
always, yeah,
Many nights coming up.
you know, exactly. So, and next year is just some really big things that, I am working on and putting together. And I will tell you, I already talked to you about something that I have coming up with Black female authors. I am a published author. My company has offers author and publishing services. So we are going to have another conversation with a panel of Black female authors and what the journey looks like for us as we come together and try to put out our stories and have our voices be heard. But tonight, that voice belonged to Lavonda Key. She is an author and entrepreneur. Please visit her on TikTok at LDK Natural Oils. You can also get her on Instagram at Love One Lost 2021 on Instagram. So her information on her social media platforms is scrolling across our screen. Lavonda, is it anything that you want to share? It is 7:59. Praise God, we are on time.
We are.
Although we battle to get started, but he wrapping us up on time.
Yes, he is.
So is
Yes,
there
he
anything you
is.
want to just share,
Um,
just to share with the people who are viewing tonight?
Also, I wanted to put out, go ahead and get Gail's book Pressure on Amazon right now. I already had the book at home. At home, I'm reading it now. So I'm like, go ahead. I'm just representing my
Thank
sister.
you.
Pressure
Thank
on
you. Thank
Amazon.
you so Thank you so much.
um,
Yes, please
it's a
visit
must read.
Amazon.
The
Please do
bestseller.
visit Amazon. Search
Yes,
for Gail
bestseller.
Benson and get Pressure. I have for a limited time on Amazon the hard copy hardcover. Help me, Lord.
Yes.
The hardcover book is available for a limited time. I have another limited edition product that I'm going to be publishing on my Shopify store. I will share it with you right now. This is an exclusive. This is an insider right
Get the
now.
profit right now.
So,
limited
right now,
time.
access. Right.
Get it,
So
yeah.
access
I already
has,
got mine.
you got your book, but I will tell you what, I will share with you right now. I have, and
Limited
I've
time.
donated to two organizations, but I'm going to have them for sale. Is my pressure box. The pressure box will be the hardcover autograph pressure book, a pressure t-shirt, a pressure novelty cup, which is either, it will be the wine tumbler. Oh, I'm about to drop the thing. It will be the pressure wine tumbler or the pressure Stanley cup. And then I have oh, I'm sorry, the book is right here. And here
It's a
is
pressure
the
book.
book. This
Limited
is
time.
my book, Pressure. This is my baby where I share my
Yes.
memoir, my story, my life and childhood experiences, along with my relationship with my mother and my relationship with heartbreak. So please, thank you, Lavonda, for that plug. She plugged me when I wouldn't even plug myself.
You
Look
know,
at that.
I had to get that out first. I have to
Thank
represent.
you
Hey, I had to
so much.
represent. But
Thank you. Thank you.
what I wanted to say before I get off, I just want to thank you, Gail, for just being able to give me that opportunity to come on to be your second guest at your transformation conversation. I just thank you for just giving me that time to be able to come and express and talk to what I went through as losing my husband. And I just thank you for giving the opportunity. Like I said, we've connected since 2022. I just feel, like I said, see ourselves going further and just in the podcast. But I just thank you for just giving me that opportunity. I thank you for just seeing the light in me, because at the beginning I didn't have the light in me, and I was like, at the same time, at that moment when we met in 2022, I had just kind of like sort of lost my husband. It had only been like a year. So coming through that event, that business network event, I was coming not knowing. I was just coming because you invited me. And I didn't know that it was going to really just give me the opportunity to push myself also too, to go further, give myself a voice. So I just thank God that you just gave me the opportunity just to get on here and just show my voice and show who Lavonda Key is. So I appreciate it. I thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much, Lavonda. Your voice needs to be heard and your light needs to shine, because there is a community of people that need you. And God is wonderful because He aligns things, and that is confirmation that we don't have to see everything to know that He loves us so much that He will bring us to the right people. He will bring your community to you. I had to go through my journey to find my voice, and here you are. You have found your voice. Anytime that I can shine a light in the world, I will do it. You are a light. There are a group of people searching for you, and they're going to find you. You are welcome back, and you will be back on Transformation Conversations. Let me tell you, I see KWE since you said, wait, a pressure box? Yes, the pressure box. The pressure box is coming. And I cannot wait to publish it and put it out there. But it is coming, and you will be able to find it on my Shopify store at Wearing It, and also on my website at www.gailbenson.com. But for right now, it is not published yet, but I do have everything to put in the box. So stay tuned, stay plugged in, like and subscribe to the podcast. So
Yes.
you know when we come on and when we're live, and when I have guests, and my next guest is going to be Tarisha Ellerson, and she is a student loan forgiveness counselor, amongst other things. This woman wears
Mm-hmm.
so many hats. So she will be my
Yes.
next guest, and I will be coming on myself, just sharing some of the nuggets and some of the things that I've been thinking about. So if
Right.
you want to
Yes. Yes.
come back here and spend
Come
some
on back.
quality time, come back to the transformation
Yes.
conversations. We appreciate every last one of you in the comments, everyone that will watch the replay on YouTube. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you and expand and increase your territory. Lavonda, thank you. I
You're
am
welcome.
so
You're
thankful for
welcome.
you and
Thank you for having
appreciative
me.
of you sharing your light and your story with us. So now y'all know what I do. I tell you, be good to yourselves. Believe in your dreams. Your beginning is anywhere you start. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.